Hey everybody, this is Kristen, sports dietitian, certified personal trainer, and owner of Elite Nutrition and Performance. Today I want to talk to you all about grocery shopping. This is a problem that I see with a lot of my clients that come in the door, that they're going grocery shopping, one without a plan for what they're going to buy. They just kind of wing it, and a lot of times they go hungry and wind up buying a lot of things that they don't really need. Two, they feed into all the marketing messages that food manufacturers are putting out there for foods that the manufacturers basically want people to buy. And so I want to talk to you all about that because it is a huge problem. The first thing that you need to realize is food manufacturers are in it for the money. They are trying to sell you a product so that they can fill their pockets. And maybe that sounds a little bit harsh, but it basically is true. So you kind of have to keep that in mind when you go to the grocery store. That just because the television or whatever you read in magazine or whatever told you that a product was healthy, it doesn't necessarily mean that that is actually true. So this is actually called the health halo effect, and I don't know if anyone's ever heard of this, but it's a real thing. And basically, what that means is that foods appear to be healthy, but they really aren't. And a good example of this would be any of your like veggie chips or veggie wraps or things along those lines. Everyone thinks, well, hey, it has vegetables in it, it must be healthy. But when you flip over the package and you look at the nutrition fact label or you look at the ingredients, you find out that it's really not that healthy. A lot of those products wind up having vegetables at the very end of the list, and you realize that it's really not a vegetable-based product whatsoever. Even though you're thinking, wow, this has vegetables in it, it must be good for me. So that's basically, in a nutshell, what the health halo effect is. And like I said, you have to keep in mind that food manufacturers will do anything and everything to sell you on their product, and you have to keep that in mind and not fall into their trap of buying it just because they say that it's healthy. So I have a bunch of examples for you aside from the veggie products, even though that's probably the top of my list. Things like baked chips. Those, yes, they are better in the sense that they don't have as much fat and they're not fried, but certainly baked chips are really not a good product. They're not going to. They don't have a whole lot of nutritional value. First of all, if you think of your food as fuel and it's fueling your performance in your particular sport, or maybe you don't play a sport and maybe it's just your day-to-day life. Baked chips, all it is just ground up potatoes, white potatoes with absolutely no skin in there, so there's not much fiber in there. It's ground up, it's cooked, and then it's pressed together into a chip. All the nutrients are basically stripped out, so all you're getting is a high glycemic index carbohydrate with a bunch of salt. Now, there is a time and place for baked chips. If you just ran maybe, I don't know, 5-6 miles and it was hot outside and you were sweating profusely and you need some carbohydrates and you need some sodium to replete, then fine. Baked chips would be a good example for something that you can eat after a workout. But I know a lot of people, they have a deli sandwich for lunch and then they have baked chips on the side. Why have baked chips? There's absolutely no fiber, there's no nutrients in there, and you're just getting a bunch of extra carbohydrates that you really don't need. And it's not going to enhance your performance on the field or in your day-to-day life. So baked chips would be something that I would suggest staying away from. And if you really like that crunch, then stick with baby carrots or, maybe celery sticks and dip them in some hummus or some, low-fat ranch or something along those lines. Another idea is you can actually make your own low-fat dip with fat-free Greek yogurt and put in some seasonings in there, and there you go. You have a dip right there. Let's see, 100-calorie packs. Everybody seems to love these, but I think they're kind of on maybe their way out. 100-calorie packs, yes, they do pre-portion your serving size for you, but you can always go and open another bag if you really wanted to. So the problem with 100-calorie packs is everybody thinks, well, they're only 100 calories. They can't be bad for me. But if you're only looking at the calories and you're not looking at what else is in there, like the sugar, the fact that it's mostly just, carbohydrates, there's, again, not much nutritional value in there. There's very little protein, and then it's mostly, your saturated fats and your trans fats, which are the fats that are bad for you. the 100-calorie packs are really not a great thing. If you really want something that, is sweet, or you have a craving for something, it only takes 2 or 3 bites to fulfill a craving. So have the real deal, have your 2 or 3 bites, enjoy it, don't feel guilty about it, and it's over and done with. The 100-calorie packs is just an invitation to eat the whole thing and not even really pay attention to the fact that, well, I'm eating this and I'm enjoying it. Just eat the real thing and just have, a couple bites there. So when you're looking at a nutrition pack label, what you always want to look for is 15 grams of carbohydrates. Total carbohydrates equals 1 serving. So try to stick, if it's a snack, I would say try and stick with around 1 serving, depending on where you are with the amount of calories that you need in a day and how active you are. So for most people, you probably want to stick with around 1 serving. And if you're having a meal, you could probably have maybe 2-3 servings, again, depending on how active you are. If you're not very active, you probably want to stick with 1. If you're very active, you can probably have 3, maybe even 4. You also want to make sure that you're getting a good amount of fiber in there. So if it's a grain product, make sure that you're getting at least 3 grams of fiber in that product. I also suggest getting a little bit of protein in there as well. And a good rule of thumb would be about 3 grams of protein for every, 150 calories or so. And then you also want to look at where your fat is coming from. So there's, 4 types of fats. There's trans fats and saturated fats, and those are your bad fats. So those are what's going to clog your arteries, and that actually hinders your performance if you have too much of those things. So I really try to stay away from those. And then your healthy fats are your unsaturated fats, so monounsaturated, polyunsaturated, and you want your fats to be coming from those sources. Most of your prepackaged products that fall into the health halo category are really not, they don't have the good sources of fat. So that's something that you really want to pay attention to. The other thing is, I would look at the ingredient list, and if you see that there are 1,000,001 ingredients in there, and a lot of them you can't pronounce, I would just skip it altogether. Really try and limit your list to around 5 ingredients, and make sure that they're ingredients that you can actually pronounce. So my suggestion would be to actually skip the prepackaged foods, go for the whole foods that are just coming straight from the ground. So your produce section should really fill up a lot of your cart. If you eat meat, raw, plain meat that's not pre-seasoned or pre-cooked or, that sort of thing, that should fill up probably about 20% of your cart. And then your whole grains, things that are not, processed so much, like quinoa, brown rice, sweet potatoes. Regular white potatoes are okay as long as you eat the skin. Those types of things, those should make up about 30 to 40% of your cart as well. So try and stick with those, and then you can make your own, treats and desserts and things like that from those foods instead. There's lots of recipes on the internet, and that's going to carry you a lot further in your sport and in your performance. You'll get a lot more nutrients out of those, and basically what you put into your body is what you're going to get out of it. So if you put crap in, you're going to get crap out. Remember that next time when you're at the grocery store. Make sure you're reading those food labels and you're looking at the ingredient list. If you have any questions, feel free to drop me a line. We will have a grocery store tour coming up on May 7th, and that will be at the Publix on Rosewood in Columbia, South Carolina. And you can visit our website, elitenutritionandperformance.com, and get all the details on that tour and sign up. Thanks.